Well, hi everyone. I'm John Rithlin with my review of Undertaker: The Last Ride, Chapter 5, Revelation. And the revelation is that he is done. He has no desire to get back in the ring, but also Vince came calling, well, never say never. He was definitive while not being definitive, but he seemed definitive at times. I really do hope that this is it, because he should be able to live his life with his wife and children. He really should be able to enjoy life. I stand by every single thing that I have said in every one of the reviews I've done for the past episodes, including Chapter 1, where I got a lot of shit for it. I bring that up because I'm not going to sound like a hypocrite. That being said, I can appreciate Undertaker's career, even if I have to separate the gimmick from the person. But he should have retired years ago. Like, he really should have. Now, it's his choice, it's his life, but he beat up his body so much where it got, oh, we want to see him fight back, we want to see him do this stuff. We want to see him come back from this injury. And I don't know how everybody else felt, but it got to the point where I'd say about 5 years ago where I'm like, okay, time to wrap it up. Time to wrap it up here. And maybe he did feel that way and he just really wanted to go out his way. And it seemed like the boneyard match was his way to go out. This was an episode, obviously, since it is a series finale. It was a short series where it does seem like there's some finality and he is happy. Because he really shouldn't ever step back in a ring ever, even if that should have been years ago. But anyway, you know what? Shane talks about there comes a time where you got to choose a different path. And Shane McMahon is correct. You know, the best wrestler in the world at one point. Remember that? Remember that? Remember that fucking shit? Good God. It was so fucking bad. Michelle McCool, Triple H, you know, they talk about, you know, Triple H talks about the conversations he's had with him about retiring. Michelle just doesn't want to see him hurt. You know, that Super Showdown show really, the match with Goldberg, cemented the fact, like, I really don't want that, you know, to be your legacy. You could have died. And even he realizes he could have died. Undertaker talks MSG, the history that he had, the fans supporting him. And I will always support the fact that the man gave his body and gave his soul to wrestling. I mean, I can never take that away from him, nor should anyone else. It was just a lot of years that he put unnecessary punishment on his body when he didn't need to, money or otherwise. And that's always going to be a dark cloud hanging over his career, in my personal opinion. But that being said, if he's not in somebody's top 10 as far as like WWE wrestlers, I really would like to know what your list is, because especially for long tenured wrestlers, he is truly one of the longest lasting and one of the greatest. You know what I mean? It's like, maybe his matches weren't always the greatest because he was given a lot of schlubs to work with, but he had a lot of really good shit, and they show some clips of that, you know, reaches the point where he's good with not being in the ring again. He's talking about that, and he gives that speech at Madison Square Garden and talks and has some good stuff to say. And Austin says, you know, you live for the crowds, you live for the pops, you try to find a way to supplement that adrenaline. It takes a while to get away from that. Austin referring to his own walk away at, right after Mania 19. And Undertaker talks about the injuries and the Goldberg incident, opening his eyes and everything. And, you know, he's not an in-ring performer anymore. And to be fair, he really hasn't been for a while, but he has been an attraction. He has been somebody that's gotten a big pop. I was at the Raw just before the, the Australian, I believe it was the Australian Super Showdown, where, you know, it's like everybody popped for the Undertaker's dong, in other words. But it was cool. That was also the same one where Elias said the line about the Supersonics and got people booing for 7 minutes. I was there. It was insane. I didn't give a shit because I wasn't really much of a fan of Seattle basketball. I like teams that won. I'm sorry to any Sonic fans that are watching, but championships, you know, years and years and years ago mean something. But anyway, you know, enough of that. It was just great to hear Elias say that. I'm going to get so much shit from any Sonic fans that watch this, all two of you. But it was cool, him even talking about bringing his dad to Raw. This was a very cool spot to see. His dad got to see him in gimmick. He talks about his early days, you know, wrestling, how he misses his dad, as any son would. I mean, you know, anybody that when you have somebody raise you and you have somebody give you so much, even if they didn't approve of your career choice at the time, guess what? He still appreciated what he did, and he knew that he made the right decision. And Taker says his priority is to be a good husband, a good father, and stuff like that. And he now gets the chance to hopefully do that and not beat his body to shit like he has. The Broken Skull Sessions footage. And then AJ Styles says, hey, he got the inspiration to talked to, he got the idea, it festered in his head or whatever, it's like, this idea made the world go round. It made the world go round. Not flat, AJ, not like AJ's watching this. The earth isn't flat. If you believe the earth is flat, what the fuck is wrong with you? But anyway, Styles wanted to face Taker in his last match, and they kind of ribbed him and stuff like that. Taker praises Styles, and then other people praise AJ for just how good he is. And yes, AJ, despite any issues that he might have about certain communities that he doesn't care for or like the support from, he's a phenomenal wrestler, pun very much intended. And again, wrestler, person. So yeah, many people praise AJ, and then Taker's talking to the NXT talents, including "It was me, Dio." If you get that, I love you guys. So Orton then praises Undertaker, Bray, Jeff Hardy, they show the Jeff Hardy, undisputed title ladder match from that one Raw in July 2002, which was fucking phenomenal. It was great. It helped Jeff reach new highs. Yes, that was intentional. And then we see him training with younger talents. And he tried to rib Styles by wanting to work with somebody else. Then Super Showdown stuff, Taker with New Day. It was kind of cool to see some backstage stuff like that. And then Mania training, shots with fans. Crowds with fans, with or wrestling shows with fans, rather. It just seemed like ages ago, doesn't it? Doesn't it seem like fucking ages ago? And then Biker Taker. I'm going to say something that's probably going to give me even more hate. I like Biker Taker. I thought Biker Taker was fucking phenomenal. It was much closer to the man Mark Calloway than the Undertaker gimmick is, even though he made the Undertaker gimmick just an extension of himself. But I like Biker Taker. I just thought it was cool. Now, was it a change? Sure. Do I understand why some people didn't like it? Sure. But I liked it. And I thought it was pretty damn good. And I thought he delivered some pretty damn good matches once he got back into in-ring shape after coming back at Judgment Day 2000, which was such a fucking chaotic pay-per-view finish. I reviewed that one. It was just so hilarious. Then the pandemic is mentioned and how things had to change. Mania went from being at the Tampa Bay Buccaneer Stadium and to the Performance Center. And then they talk about, well, how are we going to do this? Because we can't just have that match at the Performance Center. We need to go big with this. The Boneyard match. You get behind-the-scenes footage. And then his niece calls, and it turns out that one of his brothers passed away. Timothy, I think it was Timothy. Some call him Tim. And he passed away, and then, he's still having to do the Boneyard match, caskets and stuff like that, while dealing with his family, losing his brother and stuff like that. And it just, that got to me, because it is terrible. It is terrible to lose a family member, especially if they're either around your age or even younger. I'm not totally sure. I think he was older. I didn't pay that much attention to the date. But if he was older, he wasn't much older. It just is still terrible to lose family like that. And we see we see how Undertaker got glass in his arm and stuff like that. When he pulled a Goldberg from Thunder in '99 and bashed the window open. And then talk about that. He was happy with how the Boneyard match came off. And then we can see footage of Taker and Michelle on the river. Czar's there. And says the Boneyard match is a perfect ending. This is never say never, but I'm done. This is where the cowboy rides away. If he truly is done, and he's been blessed to have two families, his family and then the WWE family, the people on the road, and even the fans. Twangy music, George Strait, I believe, which, I was raised on twangy country, so I tend to recoil like it's holy water being thrown on me. But, it fit. It really did. And, 03 footage, him talking about you need to love what you do, otherwise you're not going to last. And people talk about his legacy. Vince praises him and a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm not going to throw away these notes. I'll throw them away eventually, but I'm not going to crumple them like I'm angry. Overall, this was a good series. It was a good series. It was nice to see behind-the-scenes stuff of Undertaker. The man Mark Calloway. He was willing to let the fans in on that. So that's great. Do I stand by every single thing that I said? Yeah. I stand by every single fucking thing I say, because I have to be objective about it. And yeah, maybe I let a little bit of bias bleed in sometimes, but there are certain things I see where it's like, okay, does it color my opinion differently? Sure. But also separating the wrestler and the character is important, and that is hard for me to do. I'm sure it's hard for other people to do. especially with how things are going right now. And you guys know what I'm talking about. But overall, this is a pretty damn good, series. And this really needs to be the end of The Undertaker, at least in the ring. I'm not saying the guy can't make an appearance, appear, choke slam somebody, whatever, or cut a promo. I'm not saying that he can't do that. But the man is almost 60. I mean, he's in that's 55. So, okay, so he's more than in the twilight of his career. He has earned money. He has earned millions. He has done a whole bunch of stuff. He's got a wife. He's got kids. Just fucking go live your life. The fans have gotten more than they need to from him. They got more than they needed to from him 15 years ago. So that's it. That just needs to be the end. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retland. I'll see you soon.